Midwest Collegiate Conference meeting between the leaders of the UMCC in 1986, the Northwestern Roseville Eagles and the Northwestern College Trojans. And good afternoon once again, Paul Lidtke with you from Northwestern College, as these two conference leaders match up with what could be or end up becoming the championship game of the Upper Midwest Collegiate Football Conference this season in 1986. Joining me this afternoon, as always, is Brian Ewings, a senior at Northwestern College, who for 3 years played in these games and knows the importance of the matchup between the two Northwesterns. And a year ago, Brian, at Roseville, Northwestern College of Watertown came away with their first victory since 1978 over these Eagles, 7-6, and that was a big ball game, but nothing compares to what this game means this afternoon to both teams.
This game this afternoon, as you said, is going to be for the title. The Trojans win, they've got a share. If they lose, Northwestern's Roseville has a chance to win the conference title outright.
Phil Sievert will kick off for Northwestern College as the game's ready to get underway here this afternoon. Sievert will be kicking deep to the Eagles, number 30 it looks to be. Number 31, excuse me, that's Brian Kramer. And Kramer takes the ball at the 30. He's up to around the 35, and he's finally knocked down there.
Receiving a kick for the Eagles, number 31, Brian Kramer.
Tom Ziedel, number 50, was the man that tripped him up and brought him down. So Northwestern Roseville will take over the ball first down and 10 at their own 35-yard line. Will set the Eagle offense. They're led by quarterback Greg Ponting, and the main mode of offense for the Eagles this afternoon will be the two runners in the backfield, Tom Friedrichsen, number 30, and number 40, Bill Hafler. We have a first down now for Roseville at the 35-yard line. They're in the I formation, and the handoff is to the first man through, and there's a fumble on the play, and on the first play of the game, the Trojans will get the ball in fine shape at the 35-yard line, and that time, could it possibly be the temperature this afternoon, which is in the upper 30s or in the lower 40s? Could that possibly have anything to do with that, Brian?
There was just miscommunication between Friedrichsen and Ponting that time. They ran into each other. I don't think they wanted to make the fake where they did. The ball popped loose. Craig Russell falls on it for Northwestern.
First down Trojans. Steinbrenner to the airways immediately to Sievert. Phil catches the ball and across the 25 near the 23, and that should be enough for yet another first down for the Trojans. And again, Phil Sievert and John Steinbrenner will be connecting quite a bit this afternoon. Sievert, the number one pass receiver in the Upper Midwest Collegiate Conference. Steinbrenner, the number one passer. And Sievert is up near the top of the NAIA Division II national ratings. And so Sievert will see a lot of action, and they come to the big gun right away this afternoon. Now they set up on another first down and 10. The ball spotted just over the 20-yard line. And some motion, it looked to be on the Northwestern line. And right away, senior Mike Zubobeer is in the action and pushing around with some Roseville Eagles. And it is, of course, going to be an emotional ball game, and emotion is going to play quite a bit this afternoon in the outcome.
Northwest, both teams are really pumped up right now. The Trojans last week came out flat against Concordia St. Paul. There's no way that's going to happen today. The emotion right there was shown. People are nervous right now. You could just feel the electricity going through the whole school this week, as it's been a long time since the conference championship's been decided on Northwestern's home field.
First down and now 15 for the Trojans. Steinbrenner hands off, second man through Mark Gartner, and Mark is across the 25, probably down near the original line of scrimmage before he is finally brought down by we'll try to get the number 66, Dan Brooks, a 6'4" freshman from Pittsville, Wisconsin, on the tackle for Northwestern Roseville. The last time Northwestern was involved in a conference championship of any kind was in 1983 when the Trojans won a co-championship in the UMCC. And the last time the Eagles were here was 2 years ago, 1984 for homecoming. They went away with a 23-18 victory. On a second down, a quick pass over the middle to Phil Sievert. He might have got a couple yards on the play, a little dunk pass, and it'll bring up a third down and long for the Trojans.
Over the middle, number 84, Phil Sievert.
And so the penalty moved Northwestern back 5 yards, and now they're faced with a third down and 6. So Keller goes wide to the right side on the setup with Sievert on the near side of the I formation with Mark Gartner, the deep man, in the formation on a third down. Steinbrenner to his right, And it pitches to Gartner, who has some room on the right side. He gets around near the 15 and cuts inside the 10 near the 5-yard line. It'll be a first down and goal to go for Northwestern from that point.
The way Roseville's defense was set up that time, they were just asking for the Trojans to run that play. They were stacked inside. If you get that option outside like that and Steinbrenner makes a good fake, Gardy's going to have that all day.
So the Trojans are set up with a first down and goal. The ball spotted on the 4-yard line. Again, the I formation with Gartner, the deep man. And this time they go to the left, and it's going to be another option, but this time Steinbrenner will hold it. And he might have gained a yard or two on the play, and he gets down near, actually the 1-yard line is where they're spotting it. And so it'll be a second down and goal very close to the end line.
No, the Trojans are very prepared for this game today. If there is one team that Coach Dennis Gorsline has had success with his whole career, it's been Northwestern Roseville. He was joking around this week. He says, I know their defense better than their own coach does.
And of course, Gorsline's first year at Northwestern was a year ago, and that was the year Northwestern of Watertown broke out of their slump against these Eagles. On a second down and goal, Gartner bumps off one man and bumps into the end zone for a touchdown. And so just a little over 3 minutes into the ball game, the Trojans are up top 6-0.
That was a very big drive that time. The turnover on the first play, the offense came through. The defense has been giving things to the offense all year. This time the offense converted. That's what they have to do. They got out in the lead at first, and that's what you need to do. You've got to get on top of Roseville right away.
Phil Sievert in for the extra point attempt. The ball's spotted, it's down, it's end over end, and it's going to go through and be good. And so with 11:54 left in the first quarter, it's 7-0 Northwestern of Watertown. We'll be back in a minute. 7-0 Northwestern of Watertown, and Phil Sievert will kick off once again for the Trojans. And with a game with two Northwesterns, you might have to pay close attention to figure out which one we're talking about. This time Roseville brings it back down, gets a nice block in the middle of the field. And Kramer is finally brought down at about the 42-yard line of the Eagles, where Roseville take over once again, first down. Their first possession, they fumbled on the first play, and so we really haven't seen much of the Eagles thus far this afternoon. 7-0 Trojans. Just 4 minutes into the ball game of this UMCC conference title matchup. Greg Ponning under center on the first down with Friedrichsen, who will get the handoff. He gets maybe a yard or two before he's brought down. So it'll bring up a second down, and we'll call it 7 yards to go for Roseville.
There's no secret what Roseville's going to do. They're going to come out, and they're going to run, and they're going to run, and they're going to run. 2 weeks ago, they played Concordia St. Paul. They threw the ball once.
There with a double tight end formation. Kent Seaman, one of them, number 86 on the right side, and Pete Anderson, number 84 on the left side. It's second down and 7 for Roseville, and there's another fumble, and it's fell on, and it looks like Northwestern has got it back. The Trojans, Brian Schwartz, number 54, the senior, picks it up, and the Trojans have 2 fumble recoveries out of 3 Northwestern Roseville plays.
That time, I think the cold had something to do with that. The quarterback never got the ball. He just dropped it. Brian Schwartz heads up play on top of that ball that time.
So the Trojans with a first down and 10, starting at the Roseville 42-yard line. Keller and Gartner both on the left side. It's a quick pass across the middle, tipped up and intercepted. Number 51, Rob Clark, is the man who brought it down for Northwestern Roseville, and so quickly a lot of turnovers are playing topsy-turvy with the way this ball game has gone up to this point. And it wasn't a bad play the Trojans ran that time. A quick pass across the middle to Keller, but it was just a little bit out of his reach and tipped up in the air, and that gave the opportunity to the Roseville defender to pick it off.
That interception really wasn't John's fault. The pass was a little behind, and Brian couldn't quite get a hand on it. He tipped it up in the air, and then it goes up for grabs.
7th interception off Steinbrenner this season. And here comes the first play from scrimmage, and a handoff to Heffler. He's to midfield and enough for a first down on the play. That's the first time that we've seen the number 1 rusher in the UMCC for this season. And that is the first down now of the play of the game for Northwestern Roseville. And they're now spotting the ball across the 50 at the 49-yard line of the Trojans. Will be a first down.
the whole key to the Northwestern Trojan defense today. The defensive line has to take out the Roseville offensive linemen. The linebackers have to come up quickly and make the tackles.
You're on a first down. It's another handoff. And it's Hafler again across the 45 down to the 43-yard line. As I mentioned, he is the #1 rusher in the UMCC. Mark Gartner is rated amongst the top 5 at number 4. And of course, he starts for the Trojans. And Friedrichsen, the other running back for Northwestern Roseville, is number 9 in the conference. And so you've got number 1 and number 9 in the backfield for Roseville. And that is one of the reasons why they'll run quite a bit this afternoon. On a second down, Ponting gets the pass away, and it is complete to number 86, Ken Seaman. Seaman down near the 36-yard line, and it will be a first down, the second in a row now for Northwestern Roseville.
Those are the kind of passes you'll see Roseville doing. They're not going to go downfield a lot. They're just going to get the 5-yarder to cross it up once in a while and open up for their running attack a little more.
So on a first down now from the Northwestern College of Watertown's 36-yard line. Greg Ponting, the quarterback under center, and a handoff goes to Tom Friedrichsen, and he is across the 35 down to about the 33-yard line. Ponting, the quarterback of Northwestern Roseville, is a freshman from Rush City, Minnesota. The man that the Eagles started at quarterback a year ago. Number 12, Kyle Eller, is now in a reserve role for the Eagles. Second down now, 6 yards to go for the Eagles. And this time again, it's a fake, a handoff, and Ponting keeps it himself, and we'll wait to see what the play is held up for. Well, I'm lost, Brian Ewings. You tell me what you think this is going to be.
The officials were faked out that time by the fake. They thought that the running back had the ball. They're going to give the ball where the quarterback stopped moving.
That would be at the 22-yard line of the Trojans. And that, of course, upsets Northwestern Roseville's head coach, Mel Balin, and I would think it would, in that fact, upset him quite a bit. It was a nice play that time. Ran off by Ponting as he faked a Friedrichsen and then took the outside route himself and was at the 22 with open field ahead of him.
I really don't know what they can do when they have a blown call like that.
Well, at any rate, they're going to put it down at the 22-yard line. It looks, and that'll make it a first down and 10 for Roseville at that point. 9 minutes and 11 seconds left to play in the first quarter. The Trojans on top of the ball game, 7-0. Roseville has turned the ball over twice on fumbles in their own territory, but on the second one, Northwestern of Watertown turned it right back over on a pass interception. But on that first fumble of the afternoon, the Trojans capitalized and took it in for their touchdown. And so it's 7-0, and on the officials' call, it's going to be taken on at the 22-yard line on a first down now for Roseville. Ponting under center with the I formation behind him, and the handoff is to the second man through. Hafler is down across the 15, down to the 13-yard line. And so at the 13-yard line, it'll be a second down and 2 yards to go now for for Roseville. I've still got last week's ball game on my mind where the Trojans came out and took a 12-9 victory to set up this title matchup. And the handoff again to the second man through. Hafler, he's across the 10-yard line down near the 6, and we're seeing Northwestern having some problems early on containing the #1 UMCC rusher.
The Roseville offensive line's doing a very good job right now. They're opening up the holes, and your cornerbacks and your safeties are making the tackles, which means that they're getting to the linebackers, which for the Northwestern Trojan defense to work, you cannot let their people get to the linebackers.
Tim Farley, number 10, is the wide man across on the far side of the field for Roseville as Friedrichsen goes in motion, and Ponting moves to his left side, and he's in trouble. He has no place to go, and he's finally pushed out on the far side. Number 22, Jim Winterstein, was the man to push him out for Northwestern, and it'll bring up now a second down and goal to go for Roseville at their own at the Northwestern 6-yard line.
For some reason, Roseville, when they get inside the 10, tends to go away from their power running game and tries to pass, and I don't know why they do that. They have a very strong running attack, but they try to go to the pass inside the 10.
Ponting under center, and again, it's Friedrichsen in motion to the right. This time they'll go to Heffler on the left. He might have gotten a yard before the Trojans, spearheaded by number 22, Jim Winterstein again, was there to stop Heffler, and that'll bring up a third down and goal for Roseville at the 5-yard line.
Good initial surge by the Trojan defensive line that time. The linebackers got in there, stacked Heffler up.
So now third down and goal at the 5-yard line. Total offense, these two teams quite the same type of ball club overall. The Trojans number 2 in the conference, Roseville number 4 in total offense this year. Here we are on a third down. Penalty markers are thrown as Ponting went back into the pocket, and we'll wait to see what the call will be. And the preliminary is an offsides against Northwestern of Watertown, and that would give it half the distance to the goal line and make it third down and goal at about the 2.5-yard line.
That was a costly mistake that time by the Trojans. Right now, Roseville's got 2 plays to punch it in the end zone here.
Ponting under center. He's got the I formation behind him with the big man Bill Heffler, the second man, and the far man, and it's going to be to Heffler, and he gets maybe a yard or 2 near the goal line, but he isn't quite there yet as he's stacked up by the center of the Northwestern defense. And it'll bring up a 4th down and goal, and I'd say about a half yard to go.
Roseville's going to go for it here, I would assume. They have the best field goal kicker in the conference, but they're down 7-0 right now, and I would assume that they're going to want to try to even the game up right now.
Wouldn't want to pass up a great opportunity like this one, I'm sure, and so it's a 4th down. In time for the Northwestern Trojan defense to dig in. It could be quite a momentum builder for them if they could stop it right here. Heffler now in motion to the right, and it's a handoff to Friedrichsen. He's across the goal line in for the touchdown. And so with 6:23 left, it's 7-6 in favor of the Trojans, and if this continues on throughout the ballgame, we're going to have a high-scoring game, but for some reason, I don't think it's going to be that way.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game myself. You've got the Trojan defense has been susceptible to the run all year. That's what Roseville's going to do. And the Roseville defense has been susceptible to the pass all year, and you know that's what the Trojans are going to do. It's going to come down. It's going to be a close ball game, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring ball game.
Well, it's close, and Mike Salmon just missed the extra point for Roseville, and so with 6:23 left in the first quarter, the Trojans hang on to a 7-6 lead. We'll be back in a minute. So a missed extra point keeps Northwestern of Watertown in the lead. It is 7-6 Trojans, and Mike Salmon will kick off for Northwestern Roseville. Dave Bitter back deep for Northwestern, and it's a short kick. And it is taken at the 30-yard line, and that's better up to around the 35, and he's brought down there by the Eagles, and the Trojans will take over in their worst field position of the afternoon at their own 36-yard line.
This will be a more true gauge of how the Trojan offense is going to work today. So far, it's been successful in everything they've done. That, like we said before, that interception was just a chance thing. They've been able to move the ball as they've wanted to so far.
First down, Steinbrenner under center. Handoff, second man through Gartner. He's got some room. He's got the first down. He cuts off at the 50. He's at the 40, cuts back into the 35, and is brought down finally at the 32-yard line. And that time, Northwestern's Mark Gartner had no trouble against that Roseville defense.
Good initial line blocking by the Trojans that time. There was a hole you could drive a truck through that time for Gardy, and Gardy is like a truck coming through there. That's a big confidence booster for the Trojan offense because nobody's been able to run on Roseville this year. They only give up an average of about 50 yards a game rushing.
Gartner's done quite well here in the first quarter. Steinbrenner rolls to his left, pitches the ball back to Gartner. He's got some room. He's down across the 20, inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. And up to this point, the Trojans have had no trouble running against the Northwestern Roseville defense.
An effective Trojan running game like that just opens up the passing game so much more. There are so many more options you can go to if you can make Gardy successful early.
Well, of course, if Roseville is not only able to look at the passing and key on Sievert and Keller and the other receivers for Northwestern, but they have to worry about Gartner and Bill Schwanke out of the backfield. It's going to make things difficult. This time they'll go once again to Gartner on the right side. He won't get much. He may have gotten a yard or two as he comes down near the 17 or 16 yard line. And it'll bring up a second down and long for the Trojans. Set up that Northwestern offense. It's the same we've seen all year long, and we've seen probably for the last 2 years. John Steinbrenner at quarterback, Mark Gartner is the starting halfback, and Bill Schwanke the fullback. He's the sophomore. On the outside for the Trojans, Brian Keller, a senior, and Phil Sievert, the sophomore, split end. And Sievert is the man who leads the UMCC in pass receptions this year with 57 coming into this afternoon's ball game. Second down and 9, handoff to Schwanke. Bill coughed up the ball, and it looks as if Roseville has recovered, and so this game of inches is becoming even more one this afternoon, and that's a first real costly mistake the Trojans have made up to this point this afternoon.
That hurt that time that Bill dropped that ball. Now the defense has got to come through and do the job and show that they can stop Roseville. So far, neither defense has been able to stop the other team's offense.
So Roseville, with 4:49 left to play here in the first quarter, take over at the Northwestern 13-yard line. Ponting under center, and the handoff is to Friedrichsen. And Friedrichsen gets a couple of yards before he is brought down. Number 50, Tom Zietlow, is over there to help out for the Trojans. We'll set that offense again for the Eagles of Roseville. Ponting, as I said, at quarterback, Heffler and Friedrichsen in the backfield. Anderson and Seaman are the two tight ends, with Tim Farley outside receiver for Roseville. We'll get to that interior line in just a moment, as it is second down and 6 now for Roseville. Back in the pocket, he's going long to Farley, and it is incomplete as Farley couldn't catch up at the 45-yard line. And so that'll bring up a third down, and that's something you said we wouldn't see much this afternoon. I don't think that time, so deep in their own territory, they probably figured they had to try to get out of there somehow, and that would be the quickest way if Northwestern College wasn't looking for that.
That's correct. Tommy Zietlow again, no step for step with his man. He's been doing that all year.
Zietlow up amongst the leaders in the UMCC on defense and does quite a fine job from his cornerback position for the Trojans. It's now a third down and 6 for Roseville. Ponting, hands off, second man through Heffler, and he will not get enough for the first down as he gets out to around the 20-yard line, but it'll bring up about a fourth down and 3, and Roseville will be forced to punt. And so fortunately that fumble by the Trojans did not come back to haunt them that time.
Trojan defense came through, did what they had to do that time. There could have been a big change in momentum, but the Trojan defense stopped them on 3 plays.
So Roseville will punt. And it is going to be taken at the 45, where Bitter will fall down. And so the Trojans are back in Roseville territory. Much of the game's been played down on the Roseville end. And it'll be at the 46-yard line. First down and 10 for the Trojans from that point. We'll get the rest of the Northwestern Trojan offense. At the tight end for the Trojans this afternoon is Virgil Hansen, a senior. The tackles are Aaron Gleski and Tom Trapp. The guards, Ross Elzey and Mike Zubabeer in the center. Freshman Dan Schmidt. Steinbrenner on a first down handoff to Gartner. Mark across the 45 down to about the 43-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play, bringing up a second down and 7 to go. The Roseville defense at the ends, John Spriggs, number 98, and number 71, Scott Ostrom. And the inside of the line at tackles, Dan Brooks, number 66, and Kevin Vanegas, number 77. Second down and 7 now for the Trojans. A quick pass across the center to Keller. Brian catches it. He's inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. And the Trojans have now a first down and 10 from that point.
Roseville's out to stop Phil Sievert today. And the Trojans, all they'll say is, okay, you try to shut down Phil, we'll go to everybody else then. And pretty soon you're going to have to take double coverage off from Phil, and he's going to get into it too.
Keller, that's his 15th catch on the season. He has 1 touchdown up to this point. First down now for the Trojans. I formation in the backfield behind Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner back in the pocket, rolling to his right, looking downfield, gets it away. It's down to Virgil Hansen. Virgil catches it. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. That's one man I neglected to talk about when I was speaking of Keller, but I thought about him. He's the guy we know that they'll neglect to go to, but when they go to him, Virgil catches it every time.
Virgil once again coming through. He deserves that touchdown a lot because he's been making big plays all year. I just feel super for Virgil that time. Great play.
So the Trojans tack on their second touchdown of this first quarter. It's 13-6, and Phil Sievert is in once again to attempt the extra point. The ball is spotted. It's kicked its end over end. And Sievert makes his second one of the quarter. And so with 2:39 left to play in the first quarter, it's 14-6 Northwestern of Watertown in the lead. We'll be back in a moment. That touchdown drive of the Trojans, 3 plays, 46 yards, culminating with the touchdown pass to tight end Virgil Hansen. And now the Trojans kick off, and he sends Roseville deep. They finally pick it up at the goal line, and Roseville will get no farther than about their own 11 or 12-yard line. Well, they'll make it about the 14-yard line, where Roseville takes over first down and 10 now.
The Trojans are just playing really hyped up football right now. They're just flying high right now. As we said last week, they came out flat. That was because for the past 2 weeks, they'd been keyed up for big games with Maranatha and DMLC. You can only get keyed up like that every 7 to 10 days, and they were flat last week. They've had plenty of time to get that emotional high back, and that's where they are right now.
Friedrichsen on a handoff. Gets up near the 20-yard line before he is dropped. Number 50, Tom Zietlow, again was there to help bring him down. Helped out again by number 36, Craig Russo, the freshman who is starting at linebacker this afternoon in place of junior Tim Kuski. Will set the defense for the Trojans. On the line, Steve Dorn and Mike Raditz at the tackles, and in the center of it all is senior Brian Schwartz. We'll talk about Brian in just a second as it brings up a 2nd down and 4. This time, Roseville's quarterback, Greg Ponting, will hang on to it himself, and he gets across the 30-yard line to about the 33, and he will have a first down. The outside linebackers for the Trojans on the left side, Jim Winterstein, a senior from Monroe, Michigan, and Joe Fricke from Watertown on the right side. The linebackers, Craig Russo, the freshman, as I said earlier, starting his first time here at Northwestern. On one side, Tom Unke, the junior, is on the other side. It's now a first down, Ponting under center for Roseville. He looks to throw, he's got a man open, and he overthrows him. It was intended for number 86, Kent Seaman, who was wide open, nobody in front of him at the 35, but it was thrown by Ponting, and so it'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 now for Roseville.
Zietlow is coming back to the huddle that time, knowing that he lucked out. That was his man. Tom went for the fake, and he was beat. Ponting overthrew his man. Northwestern Trojans are really fortunate on that play.
2nd down and 10 now for Roseville. Ball again spotted at their 33-yard line. Tim Farley, the one wide out on the far side of the field. The handoff goes to Friedrichsen. Friedrichsen will get a couple, maybe 5 yards, up to around the 38-yard line before he is brought down. Number 63, Tim Chemnitz, on the tackle that time for the Trojans. The 2 cornerbacks for the Trojans, 2 very fine ones. Doug Westenberg, a junior who has come back after an off year and has done quite well. He's up near the top of the league in interceptions on the right side, and of course senior Tom Zietlow on the left side. Free safety Joel Jenswald, the sophomore, and the monster back, and the key to the Northwestern defense is captain Tim Chemnitz. On a 3rd down now, Ponting goes down deep, lofts it in the air, and it is dropped and incomplete at the 32-yard line. Joel Jenswald and Tom Zietlow were both back there to defend for the Trojans in force. A punting situation now for Roseville with just under a minute, 49 seconds left to play in the first quarter. The punt by the Eagles is a short one, and a fair catch is called by Joel Jenswald at the 37-yard line, and that will be where Northwestern of Watertown will take over. First down and 10, their own 37-yard line.
Good stand by the Northwestern defense that time. That's what they've got to do. They know they're not going to shut anybody down completely, but what they've got to do is just keep working and keep working. Either make the other team make a mistake, or hold them to small enough gains that they can force them to punt and get the offense back on the field.
First down and a handoff to Gartner, and Mark will not get far as he is stacked up as soon as he gets to the line of scrimmage. And it'll bring up a second down and long now for the Trojans, and head coach Dennis Gorsline has called for a timeout with 32 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. It's 14-6 Trojans, and we'll be back in a minute. 32 seconds away from the end of the opening quarter of this ball game, with Northwestern Trojans on top of Roseville by a 14-6 count, and the timeout called by Dennis Gorsline to do what, do you think, Brian Ewings?
I think they're going to set up some special play here for a long pass right now. I think they're going to try to isolate Keller, but he's got double coverage right now, so I think they're going to have to go to something else.
Steinbrenner with some rush on him. He gets a ways at the 40, keeps it, and is down at the 43-yard line. Number 36, Dan Tracy, was there to stop him for the Eagles. That'll bring up a third down and about 5 yards to go for the Trojans. Keller is far to the right side now with Sievert on the near side. Steinbrenner through the air to Brian Keller, complete across midfield near the 40, down to the 42-yard line. That will possibly be the final play of the first quarter. Northwestern able to pass well this afternoon against Roseville, and that is the second catch of the afternoon for Brian Keller. And that will be the final play of the first quarter. And so at the end of one quarter, it's 14-6 Trojans. We'll be back. Second quarter ready to begin from Northwestern College in Watertown, Wisconsin. UMCC matchup between the two on top, the Trojans of Northwestern and the Eagles of Roseville. 14-6, the Trojans on top. They have a first down and 10 in Roseville territory at the 43-yard line. Gartner in the slot on the right side, on the near side, along with Brian Keller, who's the deep out. Quick pass across the middle to Gartner. Mark catches it, gets down to about the 35-yard line. A pickup of nearly 8 on the play, and it'll bring up a second down and short for the Trojans.
The play we saw all last week, the throwback there to Gardy coming across the middle, picks up 9 on the play. Second and 1. You like to see these second and short situations. Now you've got your choice. You can either try to run or pass. You can mix it up here a little bit because you don't have a big, long yardage situation to make up on second down.
Second down and a short one for the Trojans. The I formation behind Steinbrenner, Bill Schwanke, the sophomore fullback, is the near man, and the deep man is Gartner. It'll go to Gartner. Mark will pick up the first down, cuts back in at the 30, gets down to around the 26-yard line before he is finally dropped. Mark Mossman, number 13, on the tackle for Northwestern of Roseville.
Good running by Gardy that time. He read his blocks well, cut it outside, picked up a first down, and now you got the clock moving. You're driving. You just got to keep that up.
And Steinbrenner will have it, first down now. The Trojans have been playing much of this afternoon's game in Roseville territory. Steinbrenner on a first down. He'll go down the field to Sievert, complete. Phil turns and gets away from 1 before he's finally brought down at the 20. They may have given his forward progress at about the 19-yard line.
Phil was wide open coming across the middle that time. They've laid off the double coverage now because they've showed that they could hit Hansen. They've showed they could hit Gartner. They've shown that they can hit Keller. Now the tight coverage is coming off Phil somewhat. He's open. And when that happens, when you're going one-on-one on all these guys, you can't stop the Trojan passing.
Second down and 3, a pickup of 7 on the last play. And as Steinbrenner just got the ball, penalty markers were thrown, and we'll see what the penalty is going to be. Preliminary is going against the Trojans on a illegal procedure, and that would move them back 5 yards and make it a second down and 8 yards to go. Ball will now be spotted at the 24-yard line.
Nothing kills a drive faster than a penalty like that. But what you got to do now is show a little character, come back, block a little harder on this play, get that back, try to make up for your mistake, and get the drive going again.
So second down and long for the Trojans inside the 25-yard line of Roseville. Steinbrenner to his left, quick pass intended for Virgil Hansen, the tight end, across the middle, but it falls incomplete, and will bring up a 3rd down and long for the Trojans.
I think John just dumped that one off that time. There were two Phil and Gardy were together, and there must have been a screw up on their pattern that time, because you shouldn't have 2 receivers in one area like that. John saw he was about ready to go down, so he dumped it off.
3rd down and 7 for Northwestern of Watertown, Wisconsin. The 2 Northwesterns matching up this afternoon. Single man is Schwanke in the backfield, but it'll be a passing play as Steinbrenner gets the ball away, and he throws it out of the reach of Hansen again, and almost picked off that time by number 19, Greg Larson of Roseville. Well, that'll bring up a 4th down and 7 for the Trojans, and with the ball inside the 25, we'll be probably seeing Northwestern going for it.
Right now they're going to try to sprint out to the left and flood out that way, come back with just a whole horde of receivers and depend on the offensive line to give Steinbrenner enough time.
Schwanke, the lone setback in the backfield with Keller and Gartner on the far side of the field on a 4th down. Steinbrenner loses his footing a bit, gets the ball away. It's tipped up, and it is finally intercepted by Roseville. It was tipped up a couple times, and finally number 51, Rob Clark, came down with it for the Eagles. And it really isn't that big of a deal, because it will be Roseville's ball at their own 20-yard line. And so it would have been just the same as if we would have kicked a punt into the end zone and got a touchback.
Yeah, but you hate to see that happen, though, because the Trojans were driving, they were moving the ball, and then the turnover. Now the defense has got to come through and do the job again.
2nd interception from Steinbrenner this afternoon, the 3rd turnover for the Trojans. They fumbled it away down deep in Roseville territory earlier on in the 1st quarter. Roseville themselves have turned the ball over twice, and one time the Trojans took that fumble and converted it into a touchdown. Pass on 1st down. Farley catches the ball across the 30. He was brought back near the 30. We'll see where they spot the ball. It'll undoubtedly be across the 30 to about the 32 for a 1st down for Roseville. And so that's one of the first times this afternoon we've seen Greg Ponting go through the air, and he went to the one man they send out deep every time, Tim Farley, number 10. And now it's a 1st down again for Roseville. It's ball at the 32-yard line. Ponting is going to be met in the backfield that time. Number 53, Joe Fricky, was there to stop him for the Trojans.
Good play that time by the Trojan linebackers. They didn't go for the fake. The men stayed home. They caught Ponting before he could pitch out. Tim Kuski is in the game now again.
Tim Kuski, number 52, who has a nagging injury for the Trojans, and that is why we saw Craig Russell start this afternoon at one linebacker spot for the Trojans. 2nd down, they lost a yard on the play, call it 11. Pass is going to be complete. Number 84 for Roseville, Pete Anderson, one of their double tight end setups, gets the ball, and it gets it to the 36-yard line before he is dropped, and will bring up a 3rd down and about 5 yards to go.
That's where Roseville could run a successful play, I think, where they run their play action and their tight ends just square out 5 yards downfield, slide off their man, and go open.
3rd down, Ponting being rushed, and he might not get away from the Trojans, and he won't, and it is led that time. Number 22, Jim Winterstein over there. Also chasing him was number 65, Mike Raditz.
Combination of things that time. Winterstein broke through so that Ponting didn't have time to set up. Then once he was on the run, the Trojan defensive backs covered the receivers well enough that he couldn't throw it away, and then the pursuit got to him and forced him out of bounds.
John Witt to punt for Roseville, and it is Jenswald taking the 35. He's across the 40 down to about the 43-yard line. Brought down by number 21 of Roseville, Doug Johansson, and so the Trojans will have the ball. 1st down and 10 at their own 43-yard line. Just a little over 11 minutes left to play in the 1st half with Northwestern. Trojans on top of Roseville, 14-6.
Once again, a big stand by the defense that time. They did a good job.
We'll see what the Northwestern Trojan offense can do. They've done quite a fine job up to this point this afternoon, mixing it up quite well. Gartner able to get a lot of rushing yardage. And on a 1st down, it's going to be Gartner with the ball. And he gets across the 45 down to about the 47-yard line. Pick up of around 4 yards on that play.
What you'd like to see here is the Trojans drive in and score again. When you do that and would get up possibly 21-6, you're going to force Roseville into a situation where they'd have to start passing a little more, which is something they do not do well.
Against the game plan that the Eagles try to put into use every week, they do about 99% running every week. Second down and 6, Steinbrenner in passing, and it is deflected that time by a Roseville defensive lineman and down to the ground. Fortunately, no chance for Roseville to pick it off, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and long, 6 yards to go for the Trojans.
When you're running patterns across the middle like that, it's very important that the offensive linemen get the defensive linemen's hands down, because when they get them up in the air like that, they can knock the ball back in your face.
3rd down and 6, 10.5 minutes left to play in the first half. Steinbrenner with 2 men behind him in the I formation. Schwanke, the near man, and Gartner, the deep man. But on a 3rd down, Steinbrenner will pass. He has some blocking, but he gets the pass away to Sievert, who won't get much. In fact, he lost a couple on the play, and he'll bring up a 4th down and long, and the Trojans will be forced to punt. And it'll be Phil Sievert punting for Northwestern. The ball's spotted at the 47.
John was under pressure that time, but still, they didn't really have any receivers in the pattern that were running their patterns beyond where they needed to go for the 1st down. You've got to, when you're on a 3rd down and long, you have to go run your receivers past where you need to go for the 1st down, which they didn't do that time.
Tim Farley is the deep man for Roseville as Sievert is readying himself to punt it to him. A rush is on, but Sievert gets it away. A nice hanging kick that takes Farley back to the 15. He drops it, but he'll fall on it at the 13. And so again, Roseville is pinned deep in their own territory at the 13-yard line. Well, they'll have a 1st down and 10.
A nice high booming kick against the wind. That was a beautiful punt by Phil that time. It gives your coverage team enough time to get down underneath that ball, and if they had been there a step sooner, it would have been Northwestern ball on the Roseville 13.
But as it is, the Eagles recover. They're at the 13-yard line where it'll be a 1st down. Farley is split far to the near side of the field. And the handoff will go to the 2nd man through Hafler. He's across the 15 down near the 17-yard line. And it'll bring up a 2nd down.
Number 40, Bill Hafler.
So it's fortunate for Roseville that Farley was able to fall on that ball. Farley, the wide receiver, and one of the only men they'll go to through the air. It should be the man with the hands, and fortunately for them, he was. And now it has a 2nd down and 5. Ponting back to pass. He gets the throwaway. Downfield, and Friedrichsen has got it, and he's got some open field. He's across midfield. He's down the sidelines, and he'll be in the end zone for a touchdown. An 80-yard touchdown pass is thrown, and that time they took the Trojans off. They caught the Trojans off guard as they went to one of their running backs. Number 30, Tom Friedrichsen, and the Trojans are now only up by 2, and we'll see what Roseville decides to do this time.
I would think they'd want to go for 2 here, being down by a point.
It's 14-12, and the first time that Roseville scored this afternoon, they were unsuccessful with their extra point attempt. That is what makes the score 14-12. And Roseville now, to make sure they know what they want to do, will take a timeout. 8:53 left to play in the first half. It's now 14-12 Northwestern of Watertown. We'll be back in a minute. Roseville's decided to go for the 2-point conversion. So Ponting under center in the same offensive formation we've seen all afternoon long. Some jumping on the Northwestern side. No penalty marker thrown. Ponting to the right. He gets the ball away to Hafler. He's cut down, but he gets across, and the 2-point conversion is good. And so Roseville has made up the 8 points they were down. It's tied now 14-14, and Brian Ewings, how does that turn the momentum of this ball game around, if it does?
Well, it gives Roseville's defense a big boost to know now that their offense has got them back in the ball game. It also can allow Roseville to go back to their game plan of running 5 yards of crack at us or trying to pick up 5 yards a shot. It also puts a little more pressure on the on the Trojan offense now, because now they've got to cut those mistakes out that they've made to kill their last 2 drives and get it going again.
Number 9, Mike Salmon, in to do the kicking chores for Roseville. And this ball game is again all tied up at 14-14 thanks to that 83-yard touchdown pass. It was actually about a 4-yard pass and a 79-yard run. The ball is kicked off and it rolls around, and it'll be Schwanke taking it at the 10. He gets up across the 15 and he's down shy of the 20-yard line, where the Trojans will take over 1st down and 10 this time. One of the first times they have found themselves deep in their own territory when they've started an offensive series this afternoon. They've had some excellent field position. But this time they're going to need to go a little over 80 yards in order to get to the end zone. 1st down now for Northwestern, with John Steinbrenner under center in the I formation behind him, Gartner the deep man. It's a handoff to the first man through Schwanke. Bill gets 4, maybe 5 yards on that play. Second time we've seen Schwanke carry the ball this afternoon. The first time was an unfortunate fumble by Schwanke, but this time he hangs on and gets a couple, bringing up, I guess, a 2nd down and 7, they'll call it. With 8.5 minutes left to play in the first half, with the game all tied up here from Watertown, Wisconsin. Brian Keller is split to the near side of the field with Sievert on the far side. This time a handoff goes again to Bill Schwanke. Bill gets a yard or 2 maybe again on the play. That'll bring up a 3rd down and long. The Trojan offense has been able to both run and pass this afternoon, something that at times this season they've been unable to do. Gartner has had a few good runs so far this afternoon, and they've also been able to go to their wide receivers. All of them have caught a pass this afternoon. And a 3rd down and long. Steinbrenner rush gets the pass away, and it's caught. Number 42, Mark Gartner. It looked first as if it had gone past the intended receiver, number 84, Phil Sievert, but Gartner was also in the same vicinity right across, in fact, 5 yards farther downfield. The ball is caught at the 42, and it'll make it a 1st down for the Trojans.
Good concentration by Mark that time. I think he was intending that for Phil, but Mark is playing opportunistic ball right there, following across a little deeper, sees the ball go by him, picks it up, gets a 1st down, and picks up some big yardage for Northwestern.
1st down for the Trojans. Handoff to the only man in the backfield, Bill Schwanke, and Schwanke gets the ball to the 45-yard line. And now they're giving Gartner a bit of a rest offensively, running-wise, and they've given Schwanke 3 opportunities in a row. The ball spotted at the 45, making it a 2nd down and 7 now for the Trojans.
They're also mixing up the offense well, mixing the run and pass well right now, and that's what they've got to do.
3 men deep on the far side of the field. And that's where they're going to go, with Steinbrenner getting rushed. He gets away from one Roseville defender, goes across the field. It's intended for Virgil Hansen inside Roseville territory, and penalty markers are down as 3 Eagles were on top of Virgil as he went up for the ball. And I would guess, and be very confident in my guess, it's going to be defensive pass interference.
All 3 guys ran into Virgil that time. John tried to force it there. He would have been better off to maybe throw it away that time, because Virgil was well covered. He was fortunate that the Roseville defenders were a little too eager that time and ran into him. It works out now, but you don't want to take chances like that and throw it into coverage.
And we'll wait to see where the ball is spotted after the officials confer with Trojan offensive captain John Steinbrenner. And of course he's going to take the penalty, and it'll be spotted at the 45-yard line of Roseville, where the Trojans will have it 1st down now and 10 to go. In Northwestern, as I mentioned earlier, the Trojans have been accustomed this afternoon to good territory, good spot of the ball inside Roseville territory. And again, they have the good field position. Steinbrenner rolls to his left, gets the pass away. Phil Sievert brings it down as he crosses the 35, and again gets another 1st down for the Trojans across the 35, in fact at the 31-yard line, where the Trojans will have another 1st down.
This is the thing that the Trojans had to do to stop that little bit of momentum that Roseville had at the time with the big touchdown play. They had to come right back down the field and just keep chugging at it, just plugging at it 5, 6, 7 yards a crack and work it into the end zone.
Well, this afternoon, the offenses are the superior teams. The defenses are just going to have to bend, and the one that doesn't break is going to mean the victory for their team. This time a swing pass over to Gartner. He gets across the 20 inside to about the 17-yard line. And so again, they use the talent of Mark Gartner to pick up another first down for the Trojans.
Little screen that time set up beautifully by Steinbrenner. The offensive line let the guys come through. Stein looks a little panicked back there, then just lobs it over him to Gardy, and he had plenty of room that time, and Dan Schmidt out in front of him, and that's not a bad guy to have leading you down the field.
So a first down and 10 with the clock nearing the 6-minute mark of the first half. Gartner now back in the backfield in the I formation behind Bill Schwanke. Steinbrenner hands it off to Schwanke. Bill gets free, gets across the 10, near another first down for the Trojans. And so Northwestern of Watertown continues their luck with running this afternoon against the Roseville defense.
That surprises me also. They're doing an excellent job blocking right now, and they're succeeding. They're really doing a good job of blocking out there. The holes are open, and they're doing the job. That's what they have to do.
As we've mentioned before this year, it's a young offensive line for the Trojans. They've had to replace quite a few people up there, but they've done a very fine, admirable job this season, and especially this afternoon. The pass intended on a swing pass to Mark Gartner. He couldn't hang on to it, and that, as we mentioned a week ago, when Mark dropped a pass that he should have had, something that Mark Gartner doesn't do very often. That's drop a pass.
He just lost his concentration a little bit. One of the defenders took a swing at it, and you lose sight of it for just a second. He was also looking upfield that time. But that's the benefit of getting a big first down play. Now it's 3rd and 1, and you have no problem picking up the first down. And whereas otherwise, you would have, on a 3rd and long situation, you'd have to pass.
And the handoff was, again, to Gartner. And the Trojans were motioning for a first down. And it is a first down, and it'll make it a first down and goal now for the Trojans inside the Roseville 10-yard line. And they've got 4 plays now to rush it 7 yards and, again, take the lead in this ball game.
They've been successful with the option all day. I would say they'll probably try to option it 4 times in here, too, if they need to.
Steinbrenner with 2 men behind him in the backfield. He fakes it to the first man through, and he hangs onto it and turns in and gets inside the 5-yard line near the 3. So that time John opted to keep the ball himself and got a pickup of about 4 yards on that play.
This is something that Trojans have been not doing a lot this year. They haven't been running a lot of options. When Roseville scouted, they probably weren't running the option that day, and this seems to have caught them by surprise right now.
2nd down and goal. The ball is spotted at the 4-yard line of Roseville. Steinbrenner on a long count, handoff to Gartner, who cuts inside and gets near the end, the goal line. We'll wait to see. It looks to be near the 1-yard line, and so it'll bring up a 3rd down and goal for the Trojans. We'll see if the Trojans decide to go up the middle or around the side or head again to the option that's been so successful this afternoon so far.
Last time Brian Keller was wide open on a slanting pattern into the end zone that time. If they'd elect to go to that, he's not split out as far this time. They'll probably try to run again.
3rd down and goal. Ball is at the 2. Handoff. Schwanke's across the goal line in the end zone. And this game is again in Northwestern College of Watertown hands. It's 2014 now as the Trojans go back up top by 6. And that time a touchdown run of 2 yards by sophomore Bill Schwanke.
That drive was very important. Roseville had changed the momentum of the game for a second, and the Trojans proved that, just came and said, we're going to come right back at you and put it in ourselves, and they did.
And the ball is spotted on the extra point. It's good through the uprights, and so with 3:47 left to play here in the first half, it's Northwestern of Watertown 21, the Roseville Eagles 14. We'll be back. The Trojan touchdown drive, 13 plays, 81 yards, just over 5 minutes taken up on the clock from that, and Phil Sievert's ready to kick off to Roseville once again. Number 31, Brian Kramer's back deep to receive for the Eagles. And Phil gets a nice kick that drives Kramer back to the 15 where he takes it. He's across the 20, up to the 25, the 30, cuts back in, and is finally down at about the 37-yard line. Number 29 of the Trojans, John Vietz, a senior, was there to bring him down, and penalty markers are thrown also on the run back, and we'll wait to see what that is, and it's going to be clipping against Roseville, and that'll take a few of those yardages off.
Last week, the Trojan defense all the game gave the offense the ball and said, here, we've done this for you, now you've got to do something with it. This week now, the offense has just done that for the defense. So they say, okay, you got beat on a play, forget about it, we came back, we've got the lead back, now come out and do the job now.
The tackle on that run back was, as I said, number 29, John Vietz. And Brian, you'd probably know about this as well as anyone, that Vietz, a 4-year player here at Northwestern. Sometimes you wonder how a senior would stick out 4 years of football to play the role he does, but that time it showed. On special teams, he made a great hit on Kramer and brought him down, and he's done just an excellent job during his years on the special teams.
John's just a hard-nosed ball player, and he gives his heart out all the time. He doesn't quite have the speed that some of the other safeties do. That's why he's not playing on a regular basis. But he does the intangible things. He's a leader on the sidelines. He gets everybody keyed up. He plays hard on special teams. That time right there, he's the designated hitman on the kickoff team. He just goes for the ball. He's the ball hunter.
And now they're moving the chain gang down farther. They were looking at a first down as the chain gang had it at the 48-yard line. Now they've corrected it as some sprinkles start to fall from the skies. A little bit more to add into this game as the Rain Jackets come out here at Northwestern Field. And the first play is a punting handoff, and it is Hafler up to around the 20-yard line.
It always seems in the 4 years I've been here that the weather has just been terrible when we played Roseville all the time. It's always been raining. This is the first time it's really been cold with the rain. That could have an effect. Last year we still were successful passing the ball in the rain. That doesn't stop the Trojan passing attack too much.
Second down and a pickup of 5 on the last play. Ponning tries to get to the outside, and it is number 52, Tim Kuski, on the tackle with Zietlow and Fricke over there to help him out.
Great individual effort by Kuski that time. He just made up his mind, you're not going to get any farther, buddy. Drug him down by his shirt. 3rd down and 7.
3rd down and long now for Roseville. Ball is spotted just inside of the 20-yard line.
Big play here. You stop him here, you're going to force him to punt. You have 2 minutes left to try to punch in another one before halftime.
So it's Ponting on the 3rd down, goes deep to pass. He's rushed, he gets away, and he gets it past, and it's almost intercepted. It was intended for number 89, Jeff Dahl, a wide receiver from New Fulton, Minnesota. But Joel Jenswald almost picked it off, but he didn't. But it'll bring up a 4th down and long and force Roseville again to punt, and they haven't had any great punting yet this afternoon.
Joel Jenswald can have about 5 more interceptions this year than he has, but he does something that makes up for it. He's so intense that he's always looking for the hit. He's looking to get that guy and punish him for taking that ball.
Bitter takes the ball at the 45, and he tries to get back up to midfield, but he can't. Number 86, Kent Seaman, one of the Roseville captains, was there to bring him down. And so Northwestern of Watertown will have a first down at the 47-yard line with 2:17 left to play in the first half.
And 2 timeouts. They don't really have to get hustle yet. They've just got to work their game right now. They don't have to go into a hurry-up offense or anything. Just work their game plan like they've been doing it. They've got 2 timeouts, 2 1/4 minutes. That's plenty of time to score again.
Steinbrenner back to pass on first down. He gets the ball away. Virgil Hansen catches the ball outside, and his first foot and the only foot that counts stepped out of bounds, so it will not be a catch. But again, a lot of A lot of good things you see on the pass reception by Hansen as he was very intent on catching the ball and his attention was right where with it.
It's unfortunate he didn't quite get his footing bounds that time. He was only 6 inches away from having like a 15-yard pickup that time.
So the Trojans will have a 2nd down and 10 again with the ball at their own 47-yard line. Steinbrenner faked the one-man through, passes away to Schwanke. Bill gets to midfield and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. No, they're going to keep the clock rolling as they say he rolled out of bounds, and so the clock is now under 2 minutes with 1:57 seconds left to play here in the first half, with the Trojans on top of this ball game 21-14. But that pass that time to Schwanke picked up 4 yards, bringing up a 3rd down and 6 with the ball just over midfield.
Kirk DeNoyer comes in for Virgil Hansen. He brought in the play that time. This is designed to pick up the 7 yards they need.
Oh, and we've got a penalty marker thrown, and it looked as if one of the Trojan linemen jumped, and that is the preliminary call, and that'll move the Trojans back 5 and make it 3rd down and 11 to go with the ball at the 45-yard line of the Trojans.
Now you're looking at possible quick kick this time.
The Trojans have been very successful when they've been pinned deep in their own territory to go to Bill Schwanke, who punted the ball in high school, and he's done quite well. We'll see what they've got on a 3rd down and 11 with Schwanke the near man and Gartner behind him in the I formation. Keller split to the near side of the field. Steinbrenner hands it off to Gartner, and Mark will go nowhere as he is dropped for a loss of yards at about the 42-yard line, and it'll be a punting situation now for the Trojans.
Roseville was looking for that time. They were just sitting there waiting for Gardy on the draw. It's unfortunate they couldn't quite get the ball in that time. That would have been a big plus if they could have drove down the field before halftime and put another score on the board to go up by 14 at half.
Now they'll just try to keep the lead they have with 53 seconds left to play here in the first half. And a timeout has been called. While we've got time on the field, we'll pause for a second. Phil Sievert now to punt for the Trojans with Tim Farley back deep for the Eagles. 53 seconds left in the first half. And Sievert gets a nice punt away. It's holding up in the breezes. Farley calls fair catch at the 28, and that will be the spot that Roseville will take over 1st down and 10. And with 47 seconds left now, we'll see if Roseville airs it out or just decides not to lose the ball and go into the halftime locker room down by 7 points. Farley split far to the near side of the field with the 2-back setup again, and this time Ponting back into the passing formation. He looks downfield. He's being rushed. He can't find anything. Gets away from one man, Joe Fricke, and Tim Kuski is finally there to knock him out at about the 37, 38-yard line as he gets near a 1st down. But the clock will continue to roll. It's down to 25 seconds left to play in the half.
That play didn't hurt Northwestern. He got 9 yards, but he ran 20 seconds off the clock. He's not going to get the ball in the end zone doing that.
Ponting on a pass intended for number 40, Billy Heffler, out of the backfield, and it is incomplete. And so it'll bring up a 3rd down and short, 1 yard to go. The ball again at the 37-yard line. The clock is stopped with 13 seconds left to play here in the half. As slight drizzle again coming down here at Northwestern Field. It started about 5 minutes ago. Ponting on the 3rd down, gets it across and complete to the tight end, number 84, Peter Anderson, one of the 2 tight ends. Anderson brings up a 1st down at the 45-yard line with 8 seconds left on the clock. They stop it to move the chains. And so 1, maybe 2 plays left if Roseville correctly uses their times, and right now they've called timeout with 8 seconds. 21-14 is the score. The Trojans on top. We'll be back. 8 seconds is the time left on the clock in the first half of this ball game, with Northwestern Trojans on top of the Roseville Eagles by a 21-14 count. Farley will be on the near side of the field as we look for a pass from quarterback Greg Ponting. And that's what he's going to do as he's back in the pocket. He's being rushed He comes out of the pocket now. He looks downfield. He goes deep to Farley. And it is Joel Jenswald down there again to knock the ball away. And so at halftime, the Trojans go into the locker room 21-14. Something very important in this matchup of the two leaders in the Upper Midwest Collegiate Conference. We'll be back to talk to you a little more about the first half action right before the second half begins. Until then, we'll pause. Halftime here at Northwestern College in Watertown, Wisconsin, with the Trojans on top of the Roseville Eagles by a 21-14 count. And the game started out quickly. Brian Ewings with the Trojans capitalizing on a Roseville error, and since then the Trojans, except for a few minutes here and there, have done quite well and controlled the tempo and everything in this ball game.
They played a real good ball game today. Both teams have turned it over 2 or 3 times, and that's stop drives. It's been a case of both offenses basically overpowering the defenses. The Trojan offense has broke less often, and that's been their way all year. They've given up the yardage, they've let teams drive on them, but still they don't give up the points. They're number 5 in the conference in yards given up, but yet they're number 1 in points scored against them. And that's saying something when you have a potent Roseville offense, which is number 1 in the conference in scoring. Right now, the big thing is the Trojans are going to get the ball. What they've got to do now is go down, put another score on the board, and then the defense has just got to get very, very tough, try to take away their running attack, make them go to the air where they haven't been as successful this season, and just play the Trojan ball game. Don't let themselves slip into playing the Roseville ball game. Play the Trojan ball game, and they'll do all right.
And as we mentioned, in about 5 minutes ago in the first half, it began to sprinkle out here, and it is continuing to come down. It's not hard. It's a light rain. But again, as you've mentioned, the previous few years that the two Northwesterns have met, it has been raining. A year ago, the field at Roseville is a lot like quicksand, and this year the field is in pretty good shape at this point in the game. But let's think ahead a quarter or two. If this rain continues to fall, we could be seeing some treacherous playing conditions down on the field.
This kind of rain still wouldn't hurt too much because it's not that heavy. If it started raining more, a harder rain, then it could start causing some havoc, especially in the middle of the field where it was soft last week. But right now, this type of rain won't hurt the field any. The traction will go a little bit, but still, both teams should be able to do whatever they want.
Number 9, Mike Salmon, is teeing the ball up for Roseville, and we're ready to get the second half of action underway. The kick is taken down by number 86, Jay Kemp. Excuse me, that's 66, Zubabeer, and Mike is across the 20 down to about the 25-yard line where the Trojans will take over. First down and 10.
Mike learned his lesson last week against Concordia. He took the opening kickoff and ran straight up, and he got his bell rung. He says he doesn't remember much that happened in the first quarter. Today he got the ball, he put his head down, and he punished the tackler that time.
Zubabeer, up until this season, played in the backfield of the Trojans, but with that pressing need of offensive lineman, Zubabeer went up front and has done quite a job. First down for the Trojans. Steinbrenner under center and a handoff to the second man through. Gartner Marcus stopped immediately. He is met by number 77, Kevin Veninga, on the play. And it'll bring up a second down, and with no yardage gained on the last play, 10 to go.
You have two very well-coached teams here, two teams that will go in at halftime, make the adjustments they need to do to stop the other team. So now it's a matter of find some new things, some new wrinkles in the offense to throw the defense off.
Steinbrenner rolls out on second down and gets it away to Sievert. Phil gets up to around the 30-yard line before he is met by number 36, Dan Tracy, for Roseville, and a pickup of about 4 or 5 on the play. It'll bring up a third down and long. We'll call it 5 yards to go.
That's not a new wrinkle there. It's just a very successful one that's very hard to stop. Good hit that time, but Phil, you're not gonna knock him out of the ball game.
Third down play with Keller split on the near side of the field. The lone setback in the backfield. Behind Steinbrenner is Schwanke. John back to pass. A penalty marker is thrown as Steinbrenner is brought down in the offensive backfield. And the penalty marker will wait to see what the penalty is going to be called, and it looks as if they're pointing towards Northwestern.
Led by number 51, Rob Clark.
Just underway here in the second half of this very important Upper Midwest Collegiate Conference ball game. Paul Lidtke and Brian Ewings with you from Northwestern College in Watertown. And as they discuss it with Roseville, it is an offensive holding call that is going to be declined, and with that loss of yardage on the play, it'll bring up a 4th down and long, and Phil Sievert will again come in to punt for the Trojans.
Here's where a wet ball could cause a problem for both teams. A bad punt or a dropped punt could really play an important role in this game right now.
Sievert gets it away well on his end. Farley calls for a fair catch at the 47-yard line, and Roseville will have very good field position, something they really didn't have in the first half because they fumbled it away a couple times at the very start, deep in their own territory. And from that point on, except for when the Trojans threw it away once or twice on their end, Roseville is always in their own territory and deep.
They have been. This is probably their best starting field position of the day. The Trojan defense is going to face a big test right now.
1st down for Greg Ponting and Roseville, with the 2 men in the I formation behind him in the backfield, and the pitch out is to the 2nd man, Heffler, and Heffler gets a yard or 2 on the play. And the Trojans' Brian Schwartz was over to bring him down, and Tom Unke is having a hard time getting up down on the field for the Trojans, and so head coach Dennis Gorsline going out to check on Unke. And a chance to talk about Unke, who is a junior, graduated from Manitowoc Lutheran High School, did not play at all for the Trojans in his first 2 years. He wasn't on the team, and this year he's come onto the ball club and moved himself into a starting position.
And last week had a very big game, 22 tackles last week. He was the Area 14 representative for NAIA Player of the Week. He had a very good ball game last week. He doesn't look like he's hurt too seriously. I think he just got the wind knocked out of him a bit, maybe rung his bell or something. Not a real serious thing. He'll be back in next play. Real good pursuit that time by the defense, and that's what they've got to do. They've just got to be on top of everything right now.
Roseville now with a 2nd and 8 from around midfield. Ponting under center again with the one wide receiver in the handoff as they go to Heffler, gets across the 50 and down to about the 47-yard line. And so Heffler will get a pickup of 3 or 4 on the play, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and about 4 yards to go. And as we mentioned in the first half, Northwestern of Roseville will continue to go with the running game, and it might be very well that they do that if this rain continues. But again, we saw them fumble on 2 of the first 3 plays they ran off in the first half, and so they've got to be careful with the handoffs out of the I formation as they're in now, with Ponting back to pass on 3rd down. He looks down deep, he has his receiver, and it is going to be knocked away from number 84. Pete Anderson, who was intended, but number 25 of the Trojans, Doug Wessenberg, made a fine play down there to save a big pickup for Roseville. And now the Eagles will be forced to punt on 4th down.
Super play by Doug that time. He was turned around, he got back in time, kept his wits about him, didn't run into the man, and did a good job.
John Witt gets a nice punt off for Roseville. It bounces at the 10, and it's going to be down inside the 5-yard line. Catch that number on the player. That's number 20, Dean Salo, who is down there to down it for Roseville. And so now the Trojans are back deep in their own territory. I would say the deepest they've been this afternoon. And so it'll be a 1st down and 10 with just over 12 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, with the Trojans on top of this ball game 21-14.
Now you can't make any mistakes. You've got to work the ball out of there, try to get it out, get that 1st down. If you can get that first down, then you're going to be in business.
Steinbrenner on 1st down, handoff Gartner, and Mark has nowhere to go as the Eagles surround him. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play. It'll bring up a 2nd down and long.
Steinbrenner goes up the middle, number 42, Mark Gartner.
As we mentioned very well, that this game could be the game that decides the Upper Midwest Collegiate Conference Championship title. Of course, Roseville undefeated entering this ball game at 4-0. The Trojans have 1 loss, and this is Northwestern of Watertown's last conference game, and next week they'll play at home for homecoming against Lakeland, a non-conference ball club. They call it no gain on the last play. Second down, Steinbrenner out to pass, and he gets it completed to Keller across the middle of the field, and he gets him out of the hole as Brian brings the ball up to about the 20-yard line and makes it a first down.
Very big play that time. Brian made a nice cut into the middle. Stein hit him perfectly right on the numbers. That is a very big play because you got the first down. None of that, you got a little extra. You're outside the 20. Now you can open up your offense a little more.
Third pass of the afternoon caught by Keller. Brian came into the ball game with 14 catches, so they've been bringing the ball to him a little bit more often this afternoon. Handoff goes to the second man through Gartner. He breaks 2 tackles, 3, and he's finally brought down at about the 34-yard line. Number 36, Dan Tracy, was the man that saved a possible touchdown for Roseville. But that pickup by Gartner gives the Trojans a first down at their own 35-yard line.
There's a mix-up in the handoff that time. John ran into Gartner, but still, it just shows the ability, the athletic ability of Mark Gartner. He broke 2 tackles, read off his block well, and picked up 12 yards.
So Steinbrenner on a first down with Schwanke, the only man behind him in the backfield. He goes to pass. It's intended for Gartner, and it is out of Mark's reach at the 40. And so that'll bring up a second down and 10 again as the clock nears the 10.5-minute mark of the third quarter.
John's got to remember to set. Sometimes John will get in a hurry and he'll throw on the run, and he's not effective doing that. He's got to make sure he's set and then throws well. He can't drop down into the sidearm, which happens once in a while.
Steinbrenner passed for over 1,600 yards a year ago for the Trojans, and he's up with a chance in the next 2 games to near the 2,000-yard pass mark. And this time on a pitch out to Gartner, Mark loses it and he falls on it, and a loss of yards as the ball is now going to be spotted near the 30-yard line. And so the Trojans will be faced with a third down and long situation.
Here what you do, it'll be a possible, they're sending it in a play, so they're probably going to run a quick kick right now.
We'll see if Coach Gorsline decides to get the ball out of the territory, or on a 3rd and 15 if he's going for some kind of a pass with Sievert split wide to the far side of the field. He's going to get rid of it as Bill Schwanke gets a nice high punt away, and it goes Northwestern's way and goes out of bounds at the Roseville 37-yard line, and that'll be where the Eagles take over. First down and 10.
Now what you ought to do as a defense is, first of all, make sure of the tackle, but then tackle the ball too. When the ball gets wet like this, gets slippery, you tackle the ball, it's going to pop out sooner or later.
So with a 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line, Roseville will have it. And they're down 7 points, 21-14 here early in the third quarter. I formation behind Ponting. And it's a handoff to the first man through, and that's Friedrich. And he continues to bowl his way, bringing Doug Westenberg with him. And Westenberg finally, by grabbing his ankles, has him down at midfield. But it will be a first down and 10 for Roseville at midfield. Number 53, Lance Berg, is slow getting up for Roseville as he kneels at about the 41-yard line.
First down, Roseville at midfield.
Okay, they gave up a play there that time, 11 yards. Now what you got to do is come back and just regroup, get it back. The injury right there looks like it's probably just a cramp.
Official timeout, and we'll take a timeout with 9:40 left in the third quarter. 21-14 Trojans. Back in a minute. Well, Berg is helped off the field, but he doesn't look to be seriously hurt. And so Roseville have now a first down and 10 at midfield as the rain falls just a little bit harder here at Northwestern Field in Watertown. Ponting under center, the I formation again behind him. And a handoff to, again, the second man through, and that's Hafler, and he powers his way down to the 35. And so 2 running plays, and they have now picked up about 25 yards.
Looks like Roseville's gone in and changed their blocking scheme a little bit and have quit trying to go off tackle so much and instead heading more right up the middle. And that seems to be successful right now.
So Roseville has it 1st and 10, now spotted at the Northwestern 35-yard line. Friedrichsen is the near man in the I formation with Hafler behind him. Ponting keeps it on the ground. Hafler, he gets a couple as he continues to push. The ball is out, but the whistle has been blown. Hafler picked up maybe 3 on the play to bring up a second down and about 7 to go.
That's what you have to do. You have to stop him short and then be tackling the ball like that. It's going to pop loose. That time, that was a real close call there. They blew it dead that time. Another time, that'll be a fumble, and there'd be Northwestern ball.
Number 89, Jeff Dahl, a wide receiver, senior wide receiver from New Fulton, Minnesota, comes in, probably bearing the play for Roseville. As number 10, Tim Farley, heads to the sidelines. Second down and 8 to go with 8.5 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Ponting back to throw on second. He gets the pass away, and it is ball incomplete near the 15-yard line. Number 50, Tom Zietlow, is over there to help knock the ball away for the Trojans. And it'll bring up a third down and 8.
Good play on Tom's part, right on top of his man again. He slipped a little bit. The pass was short. Tom made sure that he just had no chance at all of catching that ball.
So an important third down play here in the third quarter at least for Roseville. Farley will split into the near side of the field. He's the one wide out with the 2 backs behind Ponting, who rolls to his left and looks to throw. He's pressured. He gets the ball away. It's knocked up in the air off the hands of Farley. Tim Kuski, number 52, is there to deliver a monstrous hit on Farley. And that'll bring up a fourth down and 8.
A quarterback cannot pass on the run. I don't care how good you are. You're going to get lucky once in a while, but when you're on the run, you can't set and throw a good pass. It sailed that time. His receiver took a hit because he went up and tried to do everything he could to help out his quarterback that time. Good rush by the Trojans, and you can hear the whole bench, the whole fan section is yelling pass anytime Roseville goes with it.
And on the punt, it's Witt hanging onto the ball, but he'll only get back to the original line of scrimmage before he's brought down. Witt, listed as a quarterback in the program, 5'10" freshman from Arden Hills, Minnesota, and it didn't really fake too many out for the Trojans that time. And so Northwestern will have the ball, first down and 10. Ball just across the 30 at about the 32-yard line.
Roseville likes to do that. 2 years ago, we lost the game on a fake field goal that we didn't see the play set up. They got a touchdown on us. It cost us the conference that year. They're not going to let that happen now.
Steinbrenner on first down with Sievert on the near side of the field. He goes to Phil across the middle. Phil has it. He's across the 45. Now he's down in midfield. And so Phil took the ball to midfield at a nice second effort after he caught the ball at about the 45-yard line, and a pickup of about 17 brings a first down for the Trojans.
And if you watch, Roseville was going for the ball that time, trying to strip it loose. The thing is, when you do that, you got to make sure you have the guy stop first. Phil picked up 2-3 extra yards that time while they were just trying to take the ball away. You've got to make sure you've got him stopped and then go for the ball.
First down now for Steinbrenner and the Trojans. Goes to pass again, a quick pass to Keller. Brian has it at the 41. He goes back to about the 44-yard line as he tried to get away from his defender, number 19. Greg Larson was there to stop him for Roseville. The ball will be spotted at the 44-yard line, but again, the Trojans on those quick passes are able to complete them anytime they wish across the middle.
Same play twice in a row there. It's working. As long as it's working, keep going with it.
We'll see what they elect to do on a second down and 3. Schwanke, the near back in the I formation, a quick count and a pitch out to Gartner on the left side. He gets away from a couple blockers, gets inside the 35 down to around the 33-yard line. And so that time, Steinbrenner on a quick count got it to Gartner, and Mark picked up quite a bit of yardage, and he picks up the first down at the 33-yard line.
Good line blocking that time. The key to the play, Bill Schwanke kicked the end out that time, leading Gardy. Gardy cut off the block. Beautiful, big gainer.
And the Trojans with their third first down of this offensive series at the 33-yard line. Keller and Gartner now quickly coming over to the near side of the field with Sievert on the near side, on the far side. Steinbrenner in trouble, gets the ball away. Gartner with a nice catch at the 25, gets away, keeps his balance, and gets down to the 20-yard line. And that's just proof that we tell you that Mark Gartner does not drop many passes unless his attention is directed elsewhere.
Mark was concentrating on that ball time. He went up with one hand, pulled it down while he was being hit, knew where the guy was on him, worked his way away from him, picked up an extra 5. Super individual effort by Mark Gartner that time.
And so the Trojans have it first and 10 at the 20 with 6:40 left to play in the third quarter. It's Keller on the far side of the field with the handoff going to Gartner. Mark picks up a yard or two possibly on the play. Number 51, Rob Clark, was there to drop him for the Eagles.
Hole was there that time, but it closed up quickly. If it would have, if they could have got to it a little quicker, they would have had a bigger gain on that.
Well, the Trojans have had a lot of luck this afternoon running against Roseville. Gartner has been the main recipient of all the holes that the Northwestern offensive line has been forging this afternoon. And now on a second down and about 8, Steinbrenner goes in the pass, and it's thrown behind Keller, and Brian's unable to hang on to it at the 5-yard line. Not a bad pass, except that it was a little behind Brian that time.
It was almost a third interception, too. They just need to be patient and work the ball themselves. Work the ball, play their game. Don't try to hurry things too much. Don't try to force things, because they know they can move the ball.
We'll bring up a third down and long with 6:03 left to play in the third quarter, and an important opportunity for the Trojans to tack on some more points to their 21-14 existing lead at the moment. Steinbrenner back on third down across the middle of the field, and it's complete. And that was number 84, Phil Sievert. The number 1 pass receiver in the UMCC brings it down at the 5-yard line and sets up a 1st and goal now for the Trojans.
And that just shows you the importance of a balanced offense. They've been able to run the ball, they've been able to throw the ball at will, and when you can mix it up like that, you're going to have the result like you have, a good chance to score, and you're going to pick up a lot of yards.
And also considering the Trojans had been going to Brian Keller in the earlier 2 pass attempts, and so now on a 1st and goal, Steinbrenner rolls to his right and goes over the goal line into the end zone, and the Trojans are now on top 27-14. And right now, Brian Ewings, it looks like that momentum is going to Northwestern of Watertown and giving the Trojans an opportunity to tack some more points on, and it might make it even tougher now for Roseville to come back.
There's still a lot of time left in the game. Roseville could get back in with their running attack, but now they've got to get they're to the point where they got to get 2 touchdowns here, and it's going to be tough. They're going to have to start throwing the ball a little more, and now the defense has got to put the clamps on a little tighter, because if the defense can come through here and stop Roseville, get the ball back, and have Northwestern score once more, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Roseville.
Well, Sievert's extra point attempt is perfect, and so with 5:33 left in the third quarter, it's 28-14 Northwestern of Watertown. Back in a minute. So with a 2-touchdown lead, the Trojans will kick it off. Phil Sievert will be kicking to number 31, Brian Kramer. And it's a nice end-over-end kick, but rather short. It is taken by John Walker, number 1 at the 30, cuts back in at the 35, and is down at the 37-yard line. Number 50, Tom Zietlow, again on the stop for Northwestern.
Good coverage that time. The kick was a little short. He only got about 5 yards on the return. Now the defense has got to do the job. The offense is, probably the most balanced amount of time that the Trojan offense and defense have spent all year on the field. Usually the defense has been on the field a lot more. Now the defense has got to do the job, because they've had a chance to rest some today.
Pass from Ponting is completed over the middle to Kent Seaman, number 86, the senior captain of the Roseville Eagles. The ball is going to be spotted at the 44-yard line. 6 yards picked up on the play, bringing up 2nd down and 4. Ponting has not passed too badly this afternoon when he has gone through the air, but some fine defensive plays by the Trojan defensive backfield has stopped Ponting from having any better of an afternoon than he's had. Handoff will go to the first man through, Tom Friedrichsen, and Friedrichsen is up near midfield. And it'll bring up a 1st down then at midfield for Roseville. And the clock is becoming the ally of Northwestern. Not quite yet, but it could be with the running attack that Roseville enjoys to run. It will take a lot of time off, and the Trojans up by 14 will allow that to go. Ponting hands off Friedrichsen. Tom will get maybe a yard or 2 on the play before he's dropped. Down at the bottom of the pile for Northwestern was number 52, Tim Kuski.
Good surge by the defensive line that time. They shed their blockers well. The linebackers got open. They hold them to a fairly short gain, and that's the way they've got to play. They just got to have the whole team on those backs when they come.
Pick up a 3 on the play, bringing up a 2nd down and 7. Ponting back on 2nd down to pass. He rolls to his right. He's getting some pursuit, and he gets the pass away, and it is caught Tim Farley inside the 40, and it looks good to be a 1st down. That's one of the first times we've seen Farley catch a pass this afternoon. He's their one wide out throughout all their offensive formations, and that time we saw a fine catch by Farley.
Good catch. That was probably the first time all day I've seen Ponting have enough time to set up the pass.
A lot of good rush by the Trojan defensive line. Spearheaded now by number 54, Brian Schwartz, the senior. And on a 1st down, handoff to Hafler. He gets across the 35, down near the 32-yard line.
Across the 35, down around the 32.
And so Hafler will pick up a good 5 or 6 yards on the play. Call it 6, 2nd down and 4 now for Roseville.
You've seen this all year, the Trojan defense, that people have been able to run on them. They've been able to drive the ball on them, but just something seems to happen to them in this area that they just toughen up, and it's hard to score on them down in here.
2nd and 4 for Ponting and Roseville, with Farley again split wide to the left side, and here comes Ponting to the near side. Goes downfield intending for Farley, and it is knocked away by Doug Westenberg, number 25. Westenberg, who's already picked off 5 on the season, has pulled off yet another fine defensive play this afternoon.
Second big one in a row that's come down to that corner. They've tried to work on him. Doug found his man, found his position, turned around so they wouldn't run into him. Went up for the catch. I think if he would have went up with both hands, he might have come down with it. Fine play on Doug's part that time.
Westenberg, a 6'1 junior from Watertown. He played his prep years here at Northwestern Prep, right on the campus of Northwestern College, and has had a very good season this year in '86 for the Trojans. On us, 3rd down and 4 now. Handoff, 2nd man through Hafler. He will not get the 1st down. He might have picked up 2 on that play. He went into the middle of the Northwestern defensive line and didn't get very far at all. And so it'll bring up an important 4th down decision for Roseville head coach Mel Balin.
4th and 2. You know Roseville is in a position where they have to go for it here now already. This early in the ball game. If they don't make it, it's still the Northwestern's got the ball in the 30, so it's not a bad decision to go for it here right now.
4th down and 2, and they'll be going for it. Ponting with his 2 running backs behind him in the I formation, and he stumbles a bit. He rolls to his right. He's getting pursued, and he's going to get knocked out of bounds. And that time, it was number 52, Tim Kuski, to wipe out Ponting on the far sidelines and turn the ball back over to the Trojans.
Broken play that time. Somebody turned. Either the running backs went the wrong way, or Ponting turned the wrong way. That was a broken play. He had to run for his life, and the Trojan defense comes through again.
And now the Trojans, with 2:15 left in the 3rd quarter, will take over. And the last touchdown last touchdown drive, went over 80 yards in 13 plays, and we'll see what they can do now with the ball spotted just over the 30-yard line on a 1st down. Steinbrenner, a fake to 1 man, goes to the 2nd man. Gartner Mark will get a couple of yards on the play before he's brought down.
Sustained drives now. They've got to just keep the clock moving. They've just got to keep eating up yardage, pushing downfield. Last year, when the Trojans got ahead 7-6, the defense staved off 4 or 5 attempts to come back, and at that time, Mark Gartner, when the offense got the ball, made some big runs to really waste a lot of time to preserve that Trojan win last year. He's got to do the same thing now.
2nd down and 7 as Steinbrenner goes to pass, and he gets it complete to Virgil Hansen. Virgil across the 50, inside the 45, down to about the 42. And every time Hansen catches a pass, he catches an important one. This time, a pickup of around 20 yards down to the 42-yard line.
Big gainer by Virgil. Beautiful play that time. We've been talking about Virgil being a sleeper, but as you look at the conference, he's even sneaking his way up there. He's number 5 this week in the conference in receiving, and he has really been a big contributor to the Trojan offense on key plays this year.
On a 1st down, it is Schwanke, the lone back in the backfield behind Steinbrenner. Gartner's in the slot on the left and a handoff to Schwanke. Bill down to about the 40-yard line, and it scared me as I looked down there, and Schwanke, who coughed up the ball in the first quarter, had a hard time hanging on at the start on that handoff from Steinbrenner. But at any rate, Schwanke gets the ball to the 40, pickup of 2, making it a 2nd down and 8.
Bill's such a competitor. The reason when he's fumbling once in a while is he's always stretching to try to get that extra yard. Once in a while, the ball, you can pop the ball loose when that happens.
On a 2nd down now, they're going to call it 7 on the scoreboard. I'll do the same. The ball's at the 40-yard line. Steinbrenner handoff to Gartner. Mark cuts back in, gets across the 35, and a nice second effort brings him to about the 34-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and short now for the Trojans.
Once again, Bill Schwanke, beautiful block, just opened up a big enough area for Gardy to sneak through, and then some strong running on Gardy's part again. Definitely the most valuable player on the Trojan team this year.
Gartner has led the Trojans every year of his collegiate career in rushing, and this year is no different as he's over the 500-yard mark and on top of the Trojan running list. 4 seconds, it might get the last play of the 3rd quarter off, but we obviously won't as the horn goes off, ending the 3rd quarter, and so the Trojan 30 has running room down to the 20 inside the 15, down to about the 13-yard line. Gartner started this 4th quarter with 114 yards on 21 carries and adds a few more on there. And more importantly, gets that clock to roll and gets the Trojans very deep in Roseville territory.
22 carries, 126 yards. Mark is having a super day, and he's caught some big passes today. Just awesome. That's the only way you can describe Mark Gardner today.
So on a 1st down and 10, Steinbrenner with Schwanke, the only man behind him in the backfield. Gartner is split to the right side, and it's a pass to Mark, and Mark gets inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line, and the senior running back is going to do it himself this afternoon, both passing and running the ball, and that time gives Northwestern a 2nd down and 3 as he picked up 7 on the play.
One thing this year that Mark Gartner is probably the healthiest he's ever been at the end of the season. The last 2-3 years, he's had strong seasons, but he's taken a lot of punishment. This year, and it was one of the keys I said at the start of the year, if they could keep Mark Gartner from taking a lot of punishment, that he would be strong the whole season and be a very key factor in their drive for the title. Mark has been seemingly getting stronger and stronger every week, and he's dishing out punishment, and he's just doing a super job for Northwestern.
And of course, the Trojans have been able to mix up their plays quite a bit, and we've seen that this afternoon. Every one of their receivers, including tight end Virgil Hansen, have caught some very important passes, and the Trojans now in a 2nd and 3 inside the 10-yard line of Roseville. They're in the I formation with Gartner being the deep man and Schwanke up front. Quick pass across the middle. That's Keller, and Brian gets a 1st down inside of the 5-yard line, and they're going to mark it at about the 1.5 or 2-yard line. And so the Trojans will have a 1st down and goal now with the ball at the 2-yard line of Roseville.
That was that slanting that I said earlier in the game. He was open going into the end zone on. They hit him there. You're on the 1.5-yard line. It's no secret what the Trojans are going to do right now. They're going to take the ball, and they're going to run that outside option.
1st and goal, see what they do. They're in the I formation behind Steinbrenner. It's a handoff to Gartner, and Mark gets up maybe to the line of scrimmage, but he's brought back by a host of Roseville defenders, and so it'll bring up a 2nd down and goal.
They handed it off that time. That's not the play you want to see all day. It's been working that you get down on the goal line, you just send those 3 horses out, either hand it off to Schwanke going up the middle, have Stein take it in himself, or if he's caught, pitch it out to Gartner and let him walk in with it.
2nd down and goal. Didn't really lose anything on the play. Got back to the line of scrimmage, the 2-yard line. Steinbrenner goes to his right, hands it off to Schwanke, and Bill is into the end zone for a touchdown. And now the Trojans are adding to a lead that might be very hard for Roseville to come back. It's 34-14. And right now, Brian Ewings, I think Northwestern of Watertown may be tasting some sweet taste in their mouth.
They've got to be happy right now. The offense has just done a super job this year. They've executed almost flawlessly today. Now Roseville's in the position. They're down 3 touchdowns. They've got to start throwing the ball now, and that's Northwestern's defense has just got to get tougher and tougher now.
And the extra point by Phil Sievert is good, and so with 13 minutes exactly left to play in the ball game, it's 35-14 in favor of the Trojans, and we'll be back. 13 minutes is the time left in this Upper Midwest Collegiate Conference game that is pitting the 1 and 2 teams in the conference standings. And Northwestern of Watertown has to think back to a game a few weeks ago against Pillsbury, their only conference loss. And they're trying right now to give Roseville their first conference loss of the season. The kick is going to be taken back deep by Brian Kramer, and Kramer gets up to near the 30-yard line where he is dropped, number 36 of the Trojans. Craig Russo is there to bring him down, and it'll bring up a first down and 10, and it'll be at the 30-yard line where Roseville begins this drive.
Right now, ball control offense with only 13 minutes left will not help you get back in the ball game. They've got to start taking some chances. The defense has got to be opportunistic now.
Ponting on first down, rolls out, tries to get a pass away, but he ended up running out on the far side of the field and being forced out of bounds. He may have picked up 5 on the scramble to bring up a second down and around 6 to go.
The defense can't get cautious here, though. They've got to still go full bore, really go. Don't let any freaky plays go. You just got to play good, solid football right now. Hard-nosed defense and be opportunistic. You know, you get the chance to get the sack, get the guy. You get the chance to pick the ball off, take it.
Second down and 5 yards to go. The ball spotted the 35-yard line. Ponting gives a handoff to Friedrichsen, and he might have gotten 2 on the play before he is dropped. Tim Kuski was there to help bring him down for the Trojans. Joe Fricke also getting up from near the bottom of that pile.
Good defensive play that time. It's 3rd down and 4. This is a hard call to make. You've got some good running backs that are capable of picking up 4. You've got some receivers who can pick up that yardage. They're forced at a tough call. The defense has got to be ready for anything here.
Tim Farley, number 10, split to the near side of the field. We might be seeing a little more from Farley. Ponting looks to throw, gets the pass away deep, and it is picked off by Doug Wessenberg at the 35-yard line. And we've seen Wessenberg knock a couple away this afternoon, but that time it was right into the breadbasket. And Wessenberg, who's number 3 in the conference now, has his 5th interception of the season, and the Trojans have the ball back with a 21-point lead with 12:03 left to play here in the ball game.
And that ties him for first place because the 2 people that were ahead of him are both from Northwestern Roseville, and the 2 men ahead of him did not pick up any passes. That ties him for conference lead in that category.
And so now a first down for the Trojans with Steinbrenner going back on a first down to throw. He gets the pass away, and it's going to be picked off on the other side. Number 23, and that's Matt Hansen. And now Hansen is on top of the UMCC. You speak about it, Brian, and it happens. Hansen came into the game with 5. That is his 6th interception. And so Roseville quickly gets the ball back at the 37-yard line where they'll have first down and 10.
Wet ball, it slipped off John's hand that time. One thing I like to see, they're not going to be content now to just sit here and try to run down these last 12 minutes of the game. They're going to want to go for some more.
Ponting back on first down, gets rushed out of the pocket, and Brian Schwartz is the man who originally grabbed his jersey, and then he was helped out by number 62, number 62, Steve Dorn was over there to help him. But Brian Schwartz, who was moved up to the nose tackle position for the Trojans after Keith Wessel, the senior from New Ulm, was injured and unable to play the rest of the season, and Schwartz has done a very good job this season in that position.
Yes, Brian Schwartz, at the start of the year, if he thought he'd be playing nose tackle and doing the job he is now, he wouldn't have thought that, but he is an excellent nose tackle.
Second down and 12, loss of 2 on the play. Ball at the 35-yard line. Friedrichsen gets the ball. He might have gotten that 2 yards back up to the 37. Number 53, Joe Fricke, there to stop him for the Trojans.
Every hit hurts the running back a little more now. Every hit is going to be painful now. It's cold out there. You're down 3 touchdowns. And when your offense isn't running, when the defense is really keyed, it starts hurting a little more every time. Your head starts hanging a little lower. The defense is really doing a super job. A big play right here. They've got to come through.
Ponting on 3rd down and 9. Gets the pass away to Farley, and Tim brings it down. The reception at the 45 of the Trojans with a first down. And every running play that the Roseville Eagles run now in the final 10:40 of the ball game also in a way hurts their chances because the clock will continue to roll. They've got to do a little more passing, as they did right there to Tim Farley.
That time they gave him a little too much leeway, that they shouldn't have been able to complete a pass that long. They've got to get a little tighter on that.
First down, and it is Ponting being thrown for a loss by number 63, Tim Chemnitz, the monster back and defensive captain of the Trojans. And that's something you've come to expect from Chemnitz over his 4-year playing career here at Northwestern.
And not only that, but when Tim Chemnitz makes a play like that, that just keys him for the next 4 or 5. You're going to see number 63 go nuts out there right now, because now he's got a little steam under his collar.
Roseville players might just remember Chemnitz from a year ago when against this same Eagle Ball Club he made a total of 22 tackles in that 7-6 Trojan victory. And now it is a 2nd and 15, and it is Hafler getting some running room and getting the first down as he goes across the 35 down to about the 32-yard line. So Hafler got everything back that the Trojans had taken away from Roseville, but the clock continues to roll, and we'll continue to tell you about the clock because it's under 10 minutes and the Trojans are up by 21.
Defense has just got to toughen up in here now. They've been playing well. They just can't let a big play go through now.
Hafler again gets the call. This time he might have gotten a yard or two before he is dropped down on the far sidelines. And there is a player down, and it could just be Hafler down on the far sidelines. He was hit very hard by the Trojans that time. And the coaches and trainers of Northwestern Roseville over there to take a look at him. So the Trojans are up by 3 touchdowns, and if you think about what Roseville will have to do in order to get back in this ball game, 3 touchdowns, but if they want to win it, they're not going to go for the 1-point conversions, and so every play they run after touchdown is going to mean quite a bit for Roseville to get back and possibly win this ball game. But right now, the way the Trojan defense is playing, it's going to take quite a bit of an effort for Roseville to do exactly that. And so now with the ball spotted at the 31-yard line, 9:25 left to play here in the ball game.
Hafler just had the wind knocked out of him. He'll be back. That was a scary moment for Roseville, because if they had lost him, that would have put them in an even deeper hole.
Number 1, John Walker, in to replace him, and Ponting will go for a pass. He gets it downfield, and it is complete, and that's Farley getting out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. And so the ball will go at the 18-yard line. The yard markers are going to be moved. It's a first down for Roseville.
Ball being spotted at the Trojan 16-yard line.
Ron Courier, a tight end, coming in with a play for Roseville. Ponting may again be going through the air on the first down. 2 men behind him. Hafler back in the ball game for Roseville. He's the deep man in the I formation. He gets the handoff, and he is brought down from behind as he may have picked up a yard or 2 on the play. But Tim Chemnitz again was there to bring him down, and as you said, that one good play that Chemnitz made has brought him up to make some more good plays in the following few after that one. And this one is no different as the ball at the 16, and Chemnitz was there to help bring him down.
Bill Hafler, a very good ball player, as he's proved today, but he's been taking a lot of shots today. He's been taking a lot of hits. He's been running the ball a lot. He's tired right now.
Ponting on 2nd down. He gets out of the pocket, and again, it's Chemnitz bringing him down on the far sideline. And maybe Tim looked at the stats at halftime and realized, in the 3rd quarter, and realized he was behind his 22 of a year ago and figured he had to catch up now.
Tim's just going crazy out there right now, and that's what the monster back's supposed to do. He's got free reign to do anything he wants, and Tim is a very intense football player. There's probably nobody on this team that gets as intense as Tim Kimnich. You don't hear him talk a lot. He just goes out and does his leading by example.
And it's a third down now and 8 yards to go for Roseville. Important play here late in the fourth quarter, and Roseville trailing by 3 touchdowns to the Trojans. A quick pass across the middle intended for Ron Courier, and the ball goes in and out of his hands, and so it'll bring up a fourth down in a do-or-die situation now for Roseville. They cannot blow any kind of drive they have. They don't have that much time on the clock, really. 8.5 minutes left to play. But each of their drives normally takes 3-4 minutes at least to get going because they rely so heavily on their ground game.
This is a big play right now. If the Trojans stop them here, it gives them that much closer to a tie for the conference title.
Ponting on fourth down, rolls to his right, goes inside and is complete. Farley coming back and getting ahead of Tom Zietlow inside the 5 at about the 3, maybe the 2-yard line. That time was a matter of Farley coming back towards the ball and getting in front of Zietlow, who is trying to defend against the touchdown.
He made a good play that time. What's happening now is the Trojans aren't getting the rush that they had before. Hafler's getting time to run around and set up, and they've got to get a little more pressure on him.
First down and goal now at the 4-yard line for Roseville with 8 minutes exactly left to play in the ball game. Ponting on a long count, Hafler in motion to the right side. Finally they get it off, handoff to Friedrichsen. He gets a couple yards. Number 53, Joe Fricke, the outside linebacker from Watertown, is over there to help bring him down. Leading that charge again was number 63, Tim Chemnitz. And there's a penalty marker on the play. And we'll wait to see what that initial call is. They're talking to Roseville, and so it would seem to go against Northwestern of Watertown.
I believe it's an offsides on the Trojans. The long count drew them off that time. They were jumping there a little bit, trying to get through, because the main thing the defense has got to do down the goal line like this is get a line surge and stop the offensive line surge. Right now it's going to be first and goal, and they pick up about 1.5 yards without having to run a play.
So the ball spotted at the 2-yard line on the first down. The two horses, Friedrichsen and Hafler, behind Ponting in the backfield, with Friedrichsen going in motion to the left. Handoff is to Hafler. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. And that makes it 35-20 now with 7.5 minutes left to go in the ball game. And nothing you can do that time. Nice hole opened by the Roseville offensive line, and Hafler with good speed went right in the end zone.
Good play by Roseville that time. Now the defense, they're setting up for just kicking one, but you're going to have to think that they're going to run some sort of fake here and try to go for 2, because there's only 7.5 minutes left in the game, and they're still down 2 touchdowns.
And number 9, Mike Salmon, is in to do the extra point kicking for Roseville. And he's going to kick it. And the ball is up. It's end over end and through the uprights and good. So with 7:37 left to play in the ball game, it's 35-21 in favor of Northwestern Watertown. And we'll be back in a minute. Mike Salmon to kick off now for Roseville. And now the Eagles are down 35-21 to the Trojans. And it's a nice kick. That Bitter takes it the 20-yard line. Or excuse me, that's Bill Schwanke, number 39. And Schwanke gets across the 30 down to the 32-yard line. And we'll see what kind of offense head coach Dennis Gorsline goes with for the Trojans at this point in the ball game.
Sustain, ball control, pick up the first down, grind out the yardage. Still mix it up. Don't just go straight run, because that gets you into third and long situations where you've got to take a long pass to try to pick it up. Mix it up. Sustained drive right now. That's what they need.
First and 10 for the Trojans at 32. Steinbrenner. The I formation behind him will hand off to Gartner. Mark through the right side of the line near the 40-yard line. And, of course, he's over 125 yards on the ground this afternoon. He was about 490 yards away from 1,000 for the season. And jokingly before the game, I told Brian, well, what's a couple 200-yard games? And I really think Mark was listening.
He is doing an excellent job today. He's closing in on what could be up close to 150 yards right now. He's just got to keep driving at this and keep working.
Second down and 2, and it's back to Gartner. And Mark gets back to possibly the line of scrimmage where he started and might have picked up a yard on the play to make it 3rd down. Over 140 now for Mark Gartner before that play started.
The big thing that's going, it's 3rd and 1 now. They pick up a 1st down here. That means they're going to run at least another minute off the clock, take it down to 5.5 minutes, and that's what they've got to do. They've just got to keep running, picking up 1st downs, running off time.
3rd down and a short 1 to go. Steinbrenner, a pitch to Gartner, who loses his footing at the 35 and is down at the 36. And there, Brian Ewings, might have been the first time this afternoon that the rain and the playing conditions on the field have hindered a play by either ball club.
Mark slipped that time. He easily had the 1st down and more because he had the outside broken. The field is a little slippery there. Just unfortunate for Mark that time.
Clock now ticks under 6 minutes as Phil Sievert comes in to do the kicking for Northwestern. And the kick is a nice one. That's going to drive Doug Johansson back to the 24. He gets some room up to the 30, across the 35. The ball is fumbled, and we'll wait to see what it is. And the officials are going to call it over to the Roseville Eagles, who will retain possession. But that time, Doug Johansson picked up about 15 on the run back, but he fumbled it just before he went down. But alertly, one of the Roseville teammates jumped back on top of it, and now Roseville will have the ball at the 35-yard line.
That was almost a ball game on that play. Nice tackles that time that forced that ball loose and just missed getting the fumble there.
1st down now, Ponting rolling to his right. He looks to Farley on the near sidelines, and he throws it out. Number 50, Tom Zietlow, over there to defend for the Trojans. And that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 yards to go.
Aggressive play by Tom Zietlow. The ball is out of bounds. He hit the man. You got to be careful about that, because if you got a ref with a quick hand, he might throw that for you. That time, nothing happened. It was good aggressive play on Tom's part. The ref saw it as that also. But you got to be careful. You don't want to give up anything that way now.
Ponting on 2nd down goes again to Farley, and it's off of Farley's hands at midfield and out of bounds. And right now we're seeing something that Roseville is, of course, thrown into, because they don't really go to anybody else. They just have to be content to go to Farley, and the Trojans are able to watch him very intently.
Also, one thing that Roseville's doing right now at the start of the 2nd half, they had their choice of which side they wanted to defend, and they chose to be going against the wind this quarter. So that's also going to play into their passing right now. They're going against the wind.
Ponting on 3rd down goes deep to his tight end, number 84, Pete Anderson. It's incomplete. But again, Brian, you'd have to think that at the start of the ball game, or even at halftime, Roseville would not have thought that they were down by 14 with 5.5 minutes to go in the game.
Obviously not. They had confidence in their team. One thing to remember right now, Roseville does not have to win this game to be the conference champs. They only have to get a tie. Northwestern has to win to have the chance. It's 4th down now. They've got to go for it. This is a big play by the Trojan defense right here. You can't let the guy get that 10 yards.
Ponting on 4th down, Farley near sideline. He'd be the man to watch right now. Ponting rolling to his right, looking downfield. He's in trouble. Here comes a few more defenders down to watch, and he throws the ball out of bounds. And is caught by Phil Sievert on the Northwestern sideline. He gets it. Ponting got it away, but he just threw that in desperation, and the Trojans get the ball back deep in Roseville territory.
The Trojans had what they'd been missing on that last drive. They had a pass rush. They had Ponting on the run. He couldn't set the throw. He threw the ball away 4 times that time. Beautiful stand by the Trojan defense that time. Now they've just got to keep working, keep driving and running the clock out, and they're going to have their shot at they're going to at least share that title now.
Steinbrenner on 1st down at the 35-yard line. And it's a handoff, and that was fumbled and picked up by Gartner at the 34-yard line.
You can tell when things are going your way. The ball slipped out of Mark's hands, bounced right back into it, and he still picked up 2 yards. He's just having a great day and can do no wrong.
Well, this is the 8th game of the season for Northwestern, and in normal years in the past it would be the final game, but the Trojans have expanded to a 9-game schedule this year. If they can hold on in the last 4.5 minutes, Coach Dennis Gorsline will have his 6th victory of the year in 1986, the most he's ever had in his years of coaching in college football. And it's a pass to Sievert into the end zone for a touchdown, and that just about puts the final screw in the coffin, and the Trojans now back up top 41-21. It's a 20-point lead with 4.5 minutes left, and a nice play from John Steinbrenner to his number 1 and favorite receiver, Phil Sievert.
Beautiful, that's all you can say. It just super connection that time, and that's just got to really drive Roseville down, because they knew when they came in today they'd have to stop Phil Sievert. They kept him from scoring until now, and now this just completely shows how much the Trojans have actually dominated this game.
41-21, Sievert now to attempt the extra point off his touchdown. And Sievert puts it through the uprights, and it is good. And with 4:26 left in the ball game, it's well in hands for the Trojans. 42-21, back in a minute. 42-21, Northwestern of Watertown up on top of this battle between the Northwesterns. And Phil Sievert, who caught the last touchdown pass to kick off for the Trojans. It's a nice kick that is deep, taken at the 10-yard line. Ball, and it was Friedrichsen fumbling it and picking it back up, and that would just keep the clock moving. At 3:09 left to play, and quickly back to the line of scrimmage comes Roseville for a 2nd down and 12 as they lost 2 off the fumbled play before. Ponning looks to go deep. He's got a receiver open. It's number 82, Robert Pope, a tight end from Seabrook, Maryland, and he was unable to hold on to it and bring up a 3rd down and long.
You and I were in the locker room after the game last Saturday talking to Coach Gorsline, and he said we congratulated him on his 5th win, his most ever as a coach in college. And he said, I suppose I have to get greedy now and go after number 6 this week. It looks like he's going to get it. And one of the things the players had to be going through his minds, Dennis Gorsline has been coaching in this conference 16 years. This is going to be the first time he's ever shared in the conference title.
Pitch off to Hayfler on a 3rd down. He gets near midfield before he's finally dropped. And for anyone who might not know about the story of Dennis Gorsline, for 14 seasons he was the head coach of the Dr. Martin Luther College Lancers in New Ulm, Minnesota. But last year he came here to Northwestern after Lloyd Thompson retired. And a year ago his team struggled to a 4-4 record, but this year, with this victory is in their pockets, will be 6-2. And as Brian said, the most victories ever was 5, but now it's 6. A pass completed to number 88, Ron Courier, across near the 40-yard line, across to the 39, and it'll be another 1st down for Roseville with 2:23 left in the ball game.
Good play by John Vietz that time. He didn't let Courier get out of bounds so that when they get the stick set, the clock goes again.
Back into their quick 2-minute offense, but down by 3 touchdowns. They're going to need a miracle right now in order to pull this game out. Ponning splitting and running to his left and getting out of bounds near the 33-yard line. 2:08 left to play in the ball game, and the Trojans are up by 21 at 42-21. Their only loss of the conference season for Northwestern came back on the 27th of September when the Trojans lost to Pillsbury at Pillsbury. But since that time, they've run off a string of conference victories. And there's a Trojan player, however, down on the far side of the field. We'll try to get you his number if we can. Coach Dennis Gorsline is now over there, attending to the fallen player. And now the team doctor also going out there. And if we can get his number, number 61, Tom Unke, was down earlier in the ball game, but he's up and coming across under his own speed, and so he isn't seriously injured, but I'm sure that'll be the afternoon for Tom.
What happened there, Ponting took off. Unke was total concentration on catching him. One of their receivers came back to help their quarterback, blindsided him, and good play. Kind of rung Tom's bell for a second. He's okay.